All right. So when last we left, we were looking at the a topical application for adults, right? So we're going over oils for every age. We've already gotten through the infants to age 2. We've got through pregnancy. We've got through school age kids. We've got through adolescents. So here we are on the adult section, and highlighting here the motivate, touch, and the adaptive. So one thing that I wanted to mention about this is when you're doing the motivate, I feel like that's the two of the biggest issues that we have people complain about are that you lose energy as you get a little older, right? So motivate is really good. I joke with people, and many of you have probably heard me say this before. I get 6 extra loads of laundry done when I put motivate on. It just really does seem to be able to get me off the couch a little bit better. And so if I know I have a full day where I'm like just, I would probably usually feel overwhelmed to be pulling my hair out to try to finish things before somebody comes over, before this or that, whatever. Motivate is fantastic. So if you've got stuff going that you feel like you need to do, put that on your list of things to click into your loyalty rewards order box. And it's not expensive, and it's very, very high value in my opinion. Also, the adaptive touch, because sometimes adults, we have to do the adulting, right? Adolescents have to learn how to do the adulting, but we have to actually do it. We have to get the taxes done. We have to, think about changing the air filters. We have to, there's all these things that, and nobody does it for you, and nobody reminds you to do it. You have to be the big girl and to do it yourself, right? So adaptive, I feel like, helps us adapt to extra stresses. So when we have extra things going on in our life, adaptive is fantastic. And like, really honestly, this within the past couple of weeks has been a big go-to for me for, I don't know if I'm allowed to say who all in my house, but trust me, it's worth checking into if you guys haven't tried it yet. There is actually a whole system that goes with adaptive, and so if you need extra support, or if you already know that that this is an issue for you that's been ongoing, try to look into the whole system that doTERRA has, that has not only the roller and the thing that you can diffuse, aromatically. They have the it's like just like the regular 15 ml oil blend that's not diluted in the touch version. And there's also a supplement called the adaptive capsules, and those ones have extra herbs in it that also support mental health. Okay, we already mentioned internal. I want to try to keep going because normally I use this time right here to the second slash of 40 minutes. I usually use it to go into a basic business presentation so that you guys can, well, training, not presentation, because this is for many of the people who already love and use essential oils. It's the kind of thing where you almost just can't keep from talking to other people about it, and so you might as well know how it is that it can benefit you, or see what how to plug people in so that they know what they need. And so normally I do this kind of training right after I finish the oils for whatever topic we're on. And so I do still have info to share with you on that. So I am going to try to just squeeze this stuff in. But again, I'm appreciative that you guys jumped back. Okay, so fractionated coconut oil, and I'm going to go back here for just a second too. When we're using the this dilution rate, you'll want to go back to this whole idea of less essential oil with more fractionated coconut oil. If you have anyone with sensitive skin, and that does count people who are in their glory years, like that is one of the well-known things that we often see, that thinning skin, and they can have like a little bit more like bruising will happen more often and things like that. Just their skin gets a little bit more sensitive. So you definitely want to dilute the essential oils with fractionated coconut oil, and keep things at a lower dilution rate. It's just because it absorbs really well into their bodies. Lifelong Vitality, I know we already mentioned it a couple times here, but because it's so supportive for joints and is great for energy, it does actually protect and nourish the brain. So I feel like that would be something that you guys would definitely want to kind of like know about for sure. And I'm going to actually, speaking of brain, let me also show you guys a couple other things that I think are really helpful for you to know. These are a couple brain fog roller blends or diffuser blends. So if you have someone, or you feel like you yourself are getting into the glory years, and sometimes you just want a little extra something to keep you on target as far as memory goes, the Brain Fog Be Gone diffuser blend is really easy to have. I actually I have popped this into my own diffuser, the rosemary, peppermint, wild orange. Just when, again, if I'm sitting down, I'm trying to get some work done while I have just a free hour when my kids are doing something else. And this is a really good one to help me just be able to focus and be like on my game as far as like mental acuity goes. Now, obviously frankincense would be another really good one to add here, but this keeps it pretty cheap because the wild orange, peppermint, rosemary are not very expensive. Now, if you're doing a roller bottle where you're going to be putting this on the back of your neck or on your temples or behind the ears, this is a really good one. So 8 drops wild orange, 7 drops bergamot, 5 drops rosemary, 5 drops peppermint, 3 drops frankincense. This is a really nice oil, oil blend. Notice it's, the total of drops is not that much. In fact, it ends up being 8 plus 3. It's kind of about 30-ish drops in a 10 ml, and the rest is in fractionated coconut oil. Remember, anytime you're making a roller bottle, which we'll talk about it more soon, but we will we'll walk you guys through doing this on Sunday afternoon. I think we're aiming for 4 o'clock, and I'm not sure. Marcella, based on answers, do you think we ought to make it a Zoom or a Facebook group? I guess I'm thinking now, should we? I think the majority of people said Zoom. Seems like most people said Zoom because you want to be able to like get your stuff together and make it here. That way you can ask questions while we're doing it. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm hoping that you guys will, fine. Yeah, I just want you guys to be super, super empowered to know like what exactly you're doing so that these oils, especially if you guys are buying the BOGO oils, that you know how to use them. So they don't just sit at home in the packages because you're overwhelmed or something like that. All right, I'm gonna put up the recipe again. And of course we will have access. Oh, am I? How? That's not, let me show my screen. Okay. So here's the recipe one more time. If you're watching the phone, you can take a quick screenshot of this, but we will probably have something like this available when we do the class on Sunday at 4. Okay, so back to oils for every age. I have to also put a little shout out for the bone nutrient complex. This isn't only for elderly people. You can definitely start using it, going through menopause like a little bit earlier than this. And I even know some children who have broken their toes, or I don't know if Natalia's on or not. But so some people who have a history of broken bones are enjoying the bone nutrient complex for kids. What's nice about this is it really is not very expensive, and the fact that they put it with the vitamin D2 and D3, it's got this. It's a very well thought out nutrient complex that is actually helping to help that regrowth of the bones with the calcium and magnesium. So this isn't like some of the fake. Not fake, it's real medication, but there's some medications that cause you to not lose the aged and old bone particles, and so artificially it makes it seem like your bones are denser because the medication is causing you to not lose the part that's already aged and like past its prime, because you want there to be a constant turnover. You want there to be new generation from the bone marrow. You want that to be growing new, hard, bones that are full of life, if you can imagine that. But that's the whole deal of you don't want the dry bones, right? You want the living bones. So the bone nutrient complex is going to help you guys with that. Okay, Symphony of the Cells is where I have to finish this one. I'd love to go into details, but we do actually next Saturday, right? Every Saturday at 10 for Orlando time, depending on where you're tuning in from, that may change. But at 10 local time, we do a continuing education class here virtually, and this Symphony of the Cells happens to be the topic of the next one that we're doing. But this is fantastic for you to just get at a glance how to do a really, really powerful protocol. The basic one here with frankincense, melaleuca, massage blend, which is aroma touch, and peppermint. Very, very easy, but super high impact, especially if you're going to do it like once a week, or even just like once every 2 weeks becomes very helpful. Cardiovascular one is put here, especially because of people in the glory years, or there are some adults that really need extra help in the cardiovascular area. This will tell you, so if you're not sure how to do it, use symphonyofthecells.com. They actually have like a little 5-minute video to give you like what in general you need to know about doing the Symphony of the Cells. The basic idea is that you're putting oils on the spine and on the bottoms of the feet, and that because the spine is so great, that all those neuron endings and the spinal fluid, all that's around there, is really great at distributing and building health in the rest of your body, and also the bottoms of your feet because of the rules of reflexology. So yeah, so take a look at that. That's really fantastic. If you guys do have other questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comments now. Thank you for adding, Marcella added the brain fog PDFs, that if you guys want to jump in and take that off of here, you'll be able to see the recipes super easy. Oh, so the dilution slide again. Thank you for putting that in the comments. This is super helpful to be able to have someone like, you know, put these in the comments again, but I will show the dilution chart one more time for you. So this is what they're saying here. Although I will say I tend to go somewhere around the 1/4 to 1/3 for any adult, but so that I think, you know, the 6 years and up is probably where you don't have to be quite as careful, because the skin does start to really thicken, and some of their body systems are kind of like in a very solid state, so you don't have to worry for dilution after about 6 years. All right, so moving on to the Elite in 6 weeks. The way this one works is I'm always going to tell you guys about jumping in if you want extra training about what does it actually look like to do this as a successful business, where not only do you want to just have your oils paid for, but really go all out and figure out how to make a real income from this. Elise Chedevy is the one to talk to, and so she's done these really great step-by-step phone calls that she records, and you know, some of them are only like 18 minutes long. Some of them are more like 45 minutes or an hour, but very, very well thought out. And so this is the kind of thing you can go and just, you know, click this button for free. You just get access to her member area. And once you have that, then you'll be able to go to the Back to Basics in the resource section. She has a Back to Basics guide that is really, really great. So we are specifically working on pages 46, 47, and 48 in this one. Is there a way for me to take down here further? I hope I don't have to scroll the whole way. Oh, I probably should have got this ready beforehand. There's probably some easy way for me to make it go. All right, so if I'll go ahead and give my caveat now that the things that I'm talking about, I would say the majority of people don't go into doTERRA because they want to use what am I saying? They don't go into doTERRA thinking that they're going to build. They just want to use the products. And maybe I should stop sharing. Oh, no, here I am. Oh, I found it finally. Sorry if I was making you guys sick watching it. I was like, maybe I should stop sharing my screen. Anyway, so the idea here is most people will start being like, I love these oils. They're making amazing, amazing differences in my family's life where, people are getting off of medications and things like that and feeling super empowered. And so often people will start to be like, well, what if I do tell my neighbor across the street? What if I do, mention to my niece that this thing would really help her for that time of the month to take care of the pain and their hormonal fluctuations. What happens if I do that? How do I really support them in doing that? And then once you start to see a couple little checks roll in, then you're like, oh, well, maybe I should actually consider doing this as a business and get some real income. And part of me wants to call out on a couple people who have had some benefits from this. I don't know if I would be so rude to do that or not. Can I do that? Marcella, do you want to say something? Marcella has actually just reached Elite this past month here, and which I think is really exciting. Do you have any tips or tricks for people? I think you're still muted. Oh,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yes.
I think the biggest tip, if anything, that I learned from listening to the Elise Chedevy talks is just contact with people. If you're really doing this from the heart, if you really are sharing with people because the oils have worked for you and you want them to make a difference in other people's lives, then Sandra, your mic is on.
I'll mute her. Go ahead.
If you're really caring for people and wanting them to wanting to see a difference in their lives with the oils, then you're going to contact them and you're going to want to help them, and then those contacts seem more genuine. And the more you contact people and just share with them, make sure they're learning how to use your oils and they're actually using them, they'll purchase oils. So one thing that I commented to Amanda was, yes, I made Elite and I'm super excited, but I would say 75% of that was just my people ordering the oils on their own. I didn't before I even got to them, before I started sharing buy one get one, before any of that, they were the orders, they were putting in the orders themselves because I've shown them how to do that. We've talked about the lifestyle guide. They know how to operate their page. So it's they are doing it on their own. So it just feels like this is not hard. It's like a fun family and we're all enjoying our oils together.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that.
genuine contact.
Yeah. And I think that's also too, when you're looking at how to share in a way that, because people are like that whole MLM-y thing, it feels yucky and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to, especially if you're sharing from a place of genuine wanting somebody to see improvement. And I feel like it is a little different compared to having someone, get 12 sets of leggings or a bunch of stuff, it's not an extra, it's a necessity. And so that's one of the things that I really like about doTERRA is I'm empowering people. It's not just the same as if I'm what do we call it, just doing building a business because I want income. What I'm doing is like what you said, the contacting people is you're building that foundation for people to know where to go to get those resources.
And if anything, if I could say anything, is there has been points where it has felt yucky, where I have made it about ranking or getting that bonus or something, and I tried to sell something to people and it didn't feel right. And so I because of that, I make a point of I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to sacrifice feeling good about sharing oils for I need this sale so that I can get my $50 bonus or my next whatever. It's I don't want to feel that way again. I'd rather it be genuine. And I often tell people, if it's not the right time, then don't buy it. Don't do it.
Exactly.
When it's the right time, it'll feel right, and then it'll be the right time, and that's fine. And if it's not today, it's not today. So I have people that said no every single day for me this week for the buy one get one. And even last night talking to my cousin, I said that's fine. when it's the right time, it'll feel right, and you'll
Mhm.
know. And it's just not
Exactly.
today, it's not today. That's fine. And I'm
Good.
not gonna be upset, and I'm not gonna let it mean that, oh no, it's when it's right, she'll do it. And if she never does it, it doesn't matter. It because there'll be other people, and that's fine.
Yeah. And I love also too, like, these are things that have changed you so drastically, like getting you off your allergy meds and things like that, and your husband with his back issues and stuff like that. So I know it's the kind of thing where just like if you were to go into Target and you were to find this really awesome shirt that was like the funniest shirt that you wanted to like wear all the time and had the greatest joke, and whenever you wore it, somebody would be like, "Oh my goodness, Marcella, where'd you get that shirt?" Target doesn't pay you for saying, I got the shirt at Target and for sending them there. It's only, something like this where you're recommending, but because you have such a life changing difference, then it does make it kind of a no brainer to try to, let other people know about the cool thing that you found, which you would do anyway. So I like that. But I'm also going to give one extra shout out. I don't know if she's going to be available to say anything, but Melissa Polly also made a leave this last month. I don't know if do you have anything that you want to say, Melissa?
Try not to get discouraged. I felt like I was kind of on a roller coaster of this because people were so often saying no, and I'd offer them samples, or they would, give me some interesting excuses as to why they didn't use it, or they wouldn't use it, or they didn't even want it. And earlier on, it was really affecting me emotionally, almost like they were telling me no personally, not no to just the oils. And I think some of that is because I just want more for them than they wanted at that moment. But yeah, I mean, I was helping, trying to get my sister on board, and I can't even tell you how many years now it's been going on. And she finally decided that it was the right time for her, and she was going to start using hers more consistently, and got her own account and everything. And I was just over the moon. So,
So good.
it just sometimes it's just about the perseverance, and sometimes it's just you just got to be okay with yourself hearing no.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Okay, so those are some people who were successful, sharing and in a way that didn't feel yucky, hopefully. And I think the really cool thing about that, sorry, I'm trying to bring up my other thing. I can. Okay, no, I didn't get it. What? Okay. Did I get this? Sorry, I'm not doing well. All right. So, but the basic idea here also is when you're doing this and you want to have like a more obvious, like a cool paycheck. What both Melissa and Marcella were saying is that it's about contacting and not getting discouraged, continuing to share with people. The foundation about how we do this is in the beginning, you have to have a solid foundation, do the right things. Otherwise, you're going to get discouraged really easy. So here's a question for you guys. Which would you prefer to purchase? If you have money that you want to buy a building, you're going to go into real estate. Is this building here one that you would want to make an investment in? Or would you rather look at something that's super solid, been standing for years and years? I think you guys probably know where we're going with this, that starting at like the very base level, doing the right things. And I'm going to put in here too, because I hear it from both Melissa and Marcella, and I know it for myself. It's the heart. You have to like have the heart to really care about people. And so that's, I think, is the foundation of doing this out of a service mindset. And when that is like the heart of like why you're telling people about it, and it's not to, as Marcella said, it doesn't have that yucky feel where it was about getting a certain bonus or a freebie for getting an enrollment or something like that. When you have the right heart, that service mindset, that is the base of being able to to build to elite and then farther on. So so that being, you know, like the whole structure, when you look at some of these super crazy tall buildings, the idea is, you know, when you start doing the right things and start with a heart of service, you're going to be able to, you know, sky's the limit kind of a thing. So the foundation is the most important part of your business, and there are some steps that at least it goes through in a very logical way that I want to share with you guys super fast. Now we only have like 15 minutes left or something, so I do have to whiz through this. But because it is simple and duplicatable, I think you guys will be you'll be fast to figure in how this is going. So the idea is to focus on sharing with people, and you're going to do all the foundations to success and learn to build elites. And then after you have elites, which, you know, like Marcella and Melissa, then you teach them how to build elites. And it's all of these really simple things. And again, encouraging that service mindset. And but why would you know how to build elites? Well, it turns out that if you have 3 elites on your separate legs, that you become silver. Now, you get some really nice average annual earnings when that happens. If you're hitting silver every month because you have those 3 leads and those separate legs, you end up making a pretty nice chunk of change. But here's the cool thing. Even at like platinum level, where you're having like, you know, hundreds of thousands per year, you're also, it's the same thing. Like to be platinum, it means you have 3 silvers. And that means that you have 3 leads under the silver, 3 leads under it. So like you're just getting more elites. Diamonds, you keep getting more as the average, you know, increase goes up. But even when you get to presidential diamond, those platinums that we were talking about, how many they have, so you're looking at 54 elites. So elite is the foundation of whatever it is that you're gonna do. And so so how can you build to elite? And this whole idea is elite in 6 weeks, because the idea of jump starting to be able to kind of like get it going, get the train out of the station. This is what we're doing. And maybe you're listening to this and you're saying like, I don't think this is for me. That's okay. It doesn't have to be for you. Maybe you're not in a place in your life or in like your particular state of retirement, or like too many babies around, or I mean, whatever your thing is, maybe it isn't right for you. But I do think it still behooves you take a look at what it is that you would have to do, like what you would be doing if you wanted to make this extra income. So that's why I hope you guys are continuing to listen in. Hey, don't forget, oh, actually, would you guys go ahead, I forgot this one of the other weeks. Go ahead and type in the comments for me now what sample you guys would like. I know that's one of the extra perks. If you were here in my home, I would definitely be offering you guys some special, you know, treats, some, you know, brownies or some things like that to be able to kind of give you some fun love while you're here. And so I would like to know something that I can send out to you, which isn't quite as fun and communal and beautiful relational, but I would like to go ahead and, if you're listening in, go ahead and give a comment about what essential oil you would like me to send you a dram of. So some recent ideas are, like, if you've never tried the citrus bloom, which was one of the BOGOs this past week, and maybe you missed out on it because I know it did sell out kind of quick there. If you didn't try whatever thing, like, would you go ahead and put in the comments what it is you'd like to try, because I'd like to send you home with some, or send it to your house now that you're not here, right? So go ahead and put in, oh, I'm seeing lime, that's a good one. Okay, we'll do that for Karina. Yeah, so go ahead and keep putting in the comments. You guys, I know petitgrain was a big one. A lot of people were interested in one of the previous times. Rosemary, if you don't have some of that yet. I'm trying to feel like what else I'm thinking. Sometimes the extra blends, like the yoga blends with the anchor, arise, align, those words are kind of interesting. So go ahead and put that in the comments. And what you would like me to send. We usually do up to 4 of these, where like that we're not like, you know, all the same people all the time. We're letting the newbies get their chance of doing that. But I would love to be able to give you guys some little extra love, because you're hanging around and you're paying attention and all those things. Okay, so I'm seeing, yep, good, yep, align, yes, awesome. Okay, so keep putting those in the comments. I'm gonna still, you know, real quick go in here. I have like 10 minutes, which is crazy, but So you choose a week to start, and you make your list of 100 plus people. Now, again, this may not be for you. You may not want to start out with 100 people. You can actually go as little as 20, and I'll show you guys how that even works. Still super, super successful. It can go even 10. I mean, make it work for you. But this is how Alicia Devi teaches, and to be able to like build that super high skyscraper like we saw on a good foundation. Here's a really good way to start. So what you do is you schedule 4 classes in 1 week. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll get to that. You'll guarantee good attendance. We'll talk about how to guarantee good attendance, and then you invite other people to host future classes. So the way it is when you choose the week to start, don't make it too far away. There is a law of diminishing intent, and if you want to stay in motion, you're definitely going to want to, while you're excited, so only like either 2 weeks away, don't make it where you have like a ton of things coming up with, like, you know, a graduation ceremony followed by a cruise someplace, followed by this big, project that you have to do, and then another like family reunion. Like don't plan it where you have a lot of other stuff going on. But choose a week, and once you choose it, you're going to make your list of people, and you're going to send out samples. And this is all the same things that we've discussed on some of our previous things, and you can always find it on that Alicia Devi kind of page, right? And it's very well gone through. If you want to listen to that kind of stuff, you're going to be listening to, or you have the Back to Basics thing. Actually, I was going to go over this, but I'm not sure if I have time. But basically, if you're going to look into this, take a look at how the elite cycle works when you sample effectively, so that you can get that good attendance. So I guess we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm going to skip through some of these things just because I know we don't have very much time left. All right, I'm going to move on to step 3 of scheduling the 4 classes in 1 week. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it really just means make yourself available at 4 times. They don't even have to be separate days. Like for this sample schedule, we have Thursday from 12 to 1. That would be somebody's lunch hour. If someone that you sent the sample to, who you've been following up with, then and they say, oh, well, I can't do an evening this week, but I could do a lunchtime. Well, great, that works really well. Or a Saturday, because they don't have work then, that would be another good time. 10 to 11 on Saturday morning or afternoon, whichever. Or like a Thursday or a Friday. Typically, we find that Mondays and Fridays don't really work all that well. So picking like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but make something that works for you. So you're gonna give people the options to choose when you have 4 classes scheduled. It also guarantees you'll have some success. It helps with your placement so that you know kind of how to structure things, and it also allows the leaders that you're teaching to be able to see enough of these classes within a 1 week period that it doesn't become a crazy load for them to learn how to teach themselves. So to guarantee good attendance, these are all in Alicia Devi's guide. You want to have 5 contacts. And if you have the 100 people, that probably sounds like a lot. You can even start with a smaller amount. But when you say 5 contacts, it sounds overwhelming. But the first contact would be the offer. Hey, I was thinking about you because I know your son's struggling with breathing issues, and I have something that I really feel like could help him. Would it be okay if I drop by to give you something to use for that? So then the second contact is you follow up with the sample delivery. Like, hey, here I am on your porch 6 feet away. This is how you use this, and here's a little thing, and again, this is all gone over in detail other places. The third contact is when you leave there, you're just like, I'm going to call you in a couple of days to see how things are going with your son and his breathing. So then when you call 2 days later, they were like, oh, wow, yeah, it actually turned out pretty good. Or if they're like, actually, it didn't seem to help very much at all, I don't think it's working for him. Well, that's okay. I have another idea of something else that might help. So let me bring that by to you. Here it is on your porch. Okay, so you have even more contacts, which is fantastic. Only after they have a good experience, meaning that way you're not forcing them or feeling yucky because you're trying to get them to do something you want them to do when they don't really want to do it. So after they have a good experience, then you invite them to come to a class or hop on a Zoom like what we're doing here. And that's your fourth contact becomes calling 2 days before. Your fifth contact is texting them 2 hours before the actual class. So it's really easy to get in those 5 points of contact. So from the class, then you book additional classes, and when you're doing this kind of schedule, week 1 you go ahead and have your 4 class. Remember, 2 weeks ago is when we planned this so that we could get the samples in people's hands, and then even if they didn't have a super great jaw-dropping awesome experience, you had time to bring them something else, or even a third thing. You have more points of contact with them, so that when you're having the classes, they actually do show up, right? That guarantees a good attendance. So you have your 4 classes, and then and that goes really well. And then you're preparing with your friends for their additional classes to be like, okay, well, if you already came and your headache issue and your son's allergy issues were all taken care of, let's, who do you know that needs these in their home too? Well, cool. Okay, we'll hop those people onto a Zoom call. We'll, pop them over into Panera, when we're allowed to meet again. So then you have, some classes from the people that you booked, and then there's, just keep on going that way. And you get your future classes on the calendar by having this awesome little keychain, which I know some of you actually do have one of these from me, right? If you don't, then you know what you have to do, right? You got to host a class for me, and I'll give you one of those. All right, so that's the whole idea of Elite in 6 weeks is for your new people, and you're able to have like actively teaching classes. This makes a really great fast start bonus, which we covered in the compensation plan from a couple weeks ago. And it just sets you up for a really successful business to build that good skyscraper and have some cool income going. Always keeping those future classes booked on your calendar so that it keeps going. And the big deal is when you have those elites, when you have the people who are doing the right things, you teach them how to do the right things too, which is all the things right here, just pointing them to the right resources. So now that's basically all there is to it. It is just building your foundation, become elite, help your builders become elite, and then teach them to help others. So that's how it duplicates. That's how it ends up being really, really awesome. I think if you guys haven't yet, okay, I'm seeing some people say Whisper. I'm seeing some people say Lime. Okay, so if you haven't given me what it is that you would like as a freebie that I can send you as a little extra perk for attending, go ahead and put that in the comments now. Also, it looks like Marcella went ahead and put in the comments a link to the Back to Basics book, which is really, really easy to follow. It's actually really nice. You can print it off for about $12 or so, or obviously you could use it on your own printer if you want, and like make it as cheap as possible. But you can also send it away to have it done for about $12. So that's kind of nice. Or PDF version. That's how a lot of people also do it too. If you're not a paper person, you don't want to go through the printing, you just keep it as the digital version. All right, so go ahead and keep commenting to me, and remember this coming Sunday, that's tomorrow, at 4, we're going to do a Zoom call about roller bottles. That is something that if you guys would like to invite some people who don't really know much about essential oils at all, it would totally be fine to go ahead and pass on this little Zoom link that we'll be sending you. We are going to use the remind feature, and for you to know about that, let's see, we'll put it in the comments here. Marcella, maybe you can add it real quick about the remind. So if you're not on the reminder list to get the links, you text 81010. So that's the number that you're texting. Like, so you bring up a new text, 81010, it would be the number, and you would type far and loved if you're someone who's out of the general vicinity of Orlando, because sometimes I do things that are here. So it'd be the @ symbol and then far and loved, FARNLOVED. Or if you're local to Orlando, you're going to do the @ symbol and then the lovely V, which is supposed to be the lovely village, but they only let you do a short one. So it's THELOVEY V, the lovely